This is a Challenger MC7 bus, and what we'd like to do today is show you a little bit about the drive mechanism in this and some of the discrepancies we feel that could be resolved with the early warning safety device. This is the rear of the bus where we have a tandem axle arrangement, and only the front axle is the driven axle. The other, what in the back is called a tag axle, just to handle the load. And as we said earlier, we'd like to illustrate to you some of the situation here with this bus and how the drivetrain components differ from conventional over-the-road vehicles, but the most important part remains the same. Nels, can you elaborate?
Yeah, John, it's nice to be able to do this little segment to add to our DVD, because this brings to the viewer what a commercial bus system looks like. And this used to be a Greyhound. This was retired from Greyhound 10 or 12 years ago when I bought it, and of course made a motorhome out of it. But this is actually the first time since it was a Greyhound that the hub has ever been off this thing. I've been all over Alaska, Arizona, Mexico with it, put a lot of miles on it, and so far this is the first time I've had a hub problem. And what the problem was a leak. And here we have the hub taken apart. But what I wanted to show you is how Greyhound, or MCI, because this is an MC7 Challenger coach, what extent they went to make this bus safe for the traveling public. For instance, the journals that they use to mount the rear suspension here, everything is absolutely bulletproof. I mean, here we have a section here that carries the back axle that measures the bushing on it is like a 6-inch bushing.
Oversized for safety.
For safety. In fact, I just measured another lift axle on a Peterbilt we have in the yard that has the same gross vehicle weight rating as this axle. It's got a 1 1/8 inch pin.
And this is 6.
Versus 6. And same with the brakes. The normal brake system on this coach is way wider. It's got an 8-inch pad for brakes.
Yes.
So they're 2 inches wider than a normal truck pad. And behind you here is the brake drum offset. And I have never seen a brake drum so massive as this. It's a heavy duty operation. The heaviest single axle setup I've seen in my time, but this is also the first coach I've had apart. But the thing that I wanted to have you look at today, John, is they do all this work to make it safe and strong, so they're capable of putting millions of miles on this undercarriage. Yet the hub, and this is why I took it apart, I had a seal leaking. So I came in here the other day to pull this heavy drive axle out and remove this hub, and I brought my bucket of sockets over here to, like we said before, find out which one's going to be the right socket to take this lock mechanism off the bearing hub. And all I did was put the socket up here, take it off my hand.
Oh my.
It came off in my hands. I never even put the ratchet wrench on it. So again, I've had this thing 12 years. The last time it was apart was some mechanic at Greyhound. So it really makes you wonder. It really makes you wonder how long it might have been before this assembly came apart. And it's the same reasons that we've been going through before. It's the lock mechanism. In this case, that I would have lost a wheel probably in a few thousand miles possibly. Because this setup was on there, the seal was leaking, and this outer nut I took off with my hands. And like we were explaining in other segments of this DVD, I've run into this several times before, like where this outer nut is either laying in the oil hub on a trailer or loose. So just another example of a loose retention system.
What, if I may interrupt you a second, Nels, what I find interesting about this configuration is they have gone to all this trouble to mass up the drivetrain components.
Right, the beefiness, the
heavy safety aspect, right. But essentially the fail-safe is no different than it is on a commercial vehicle. 5 threads or less to hold it on.
This part of it is unchanged, and again, It doesn't matter if it's obviously in a coach, in a heavy highway commercial truck or trailer, or in an automotive application. It's the same setup.
Same
It always-
principle.
Yes, and it's the same, more or less feeble way that they're locked is one of the reasons why it comes apart. And for instance, if this bus would have had our bigger nut on it, not only would it have been provided with the torque to lock it, it would have had the pin to lock it the second time.
And of course, this is a left-hand rotation situation here, so
Right.
that's where this pin really comes into play. And I might add that the viewers that see this, the dynamics of the hub lock system we have in early warning, it's several issues, several dynamics to it. It has early warning capability where you can tell what's perhaps going on
about
the
to
inside.
happen.
Yeah, about to happen. And then we have totally redesigned the retaining mechanism.
Which is this.
Which is this.
This here. This loose nut should not happen. It should never happen with our system.
No.
Because it's got a secondary lock,
Yep.
basically is what it is.
So we're going to fix it the right way.